Hi everybody, welcome to the 11th grade advisement. Today we're going to be talking about everything you need to know for 11th grade, moving forward into 12th grade, and then we're going to take a look at post-secondary options and some things you need to be aware of as you move from high school into the college setting. So you need to know who your counselors are, and it's important to know that the counseling alphabet will fluctuate a little bit every year just depending on the number of students. So if your last name begins with a D, you might be in one person's alphabet this year and the other counselor's alphabet the next year. First counselor is Ms. Ponticelli. If your last name begins with A through D, she will be your counselor this year. Next we have Dr. Orsini, and she works with students with the last names E through LI. Ms. Brady serves as our department chair, and she works with students last names LL through ROC. She also works with all two-year students that are attending Chattahoochee Tech for dual enrollment or any other two-year institute. And last you have me. I am Dr. White, and I serve students ROD through Z in the alphabet. I also work with all dual enrollment students that are attending KSU or any other four-year institute. This is Sprayberry Counseling's website. You go to www.sprayberrycounseling.com. We highly suggest that you go to this website. You're going to get a lot of information about everything that's happening in the counseling department. You're going to get information on anything that deals with seniors. You're going to have access to all of our videos. You're going to be able to check out information on dual enrollment. You'll see how you enroll at school or withdraw from school. There is tons of information on this website, so we highly recommend that you take advantage of reviewing the information. So if you want to see your school counselor, just stop by the counseling department. We'll be more than happy to speak with you. When we return to face-to-face learning, you will be able to come into the counseling office. We will see you immediately if we're available. If not, we will have you schedule an appointment in the lobby, and then we will see you during your appointment time. We oftentimes we'll only see you during an elective class unless it's an emergency situation. So if you're having an emergency, obviously come straight to counseling. We'll see you right away. But otherwise, we will see you during one of your elective classes. So these are the main topics that we're going to be covering today. So take a look at this so it gives you a little bit of an idea of where I'm headed with this presentation. The first thing we're going to discuss are your graduation requirements. In order to graduate high school, you need a total of 23 credits. The great thing about being at Sprayberry is that we're on a block schedule, so you're going to have approximately 32 credits by the time you graduate high school. Some people will have more, some people may have a little less, just depending on if you transitioned in here or if you had taken extra classes when you were in middle school that you received high school credit for. Everyone needs 4 credits in language arts. You have to have 9th Lit and you have to have American Lit. The other 2 classes can be a combination of different types of Lit classes. In terms of math, everyone takes algebra, geometry, algebra 2, and a 4th math. If you want to take higher level maths, you are welcome to, but in terms of requirements for graduation, you only need those 4 classes. Science, everyone needs 4 credits to graduate. So you'll take biology. You'll be able to choose between chemistry or environmental science. You'll take physics or physical science, and then your last science class will be a science of your choice. Now, when we're looking at classes of rigor for HOPE, which we'll talk more about in a few minutes, understand that your chemistry class is a class of rigor, but environmental science is not, and that physics is a class of rigor, but physical science is not considered one. Looking at social studies, you need 3 credits for graduation. Everyone takes world history, U.S. history, and econ and government. All students are required to have health and personal fitness unless you've done 3 years of JROTC. And then in terms of world language, fine arts, or CTAE, you need at least 3 credits from those categories, and it can be a mix and match, or it could be just all in one category, and everything else becomes an elective. As you go from 11th grade to 12th grade, you're going to need a total of 16 credits. 2 of them need to be in English, 2 in math, and 2 in science. So if you fail a science class and you did not have that second science credit, you'll still be considered an 11th grader next year. Once you complete that science credit, what we'll do is called a mid-year promotion and promote you from 11th grade on to 12th grade. Potential question that we want you to be thinking about is how are you going to put post-secondary plans into action? This is something you need to start thinking about now. So although you're only in 11th grade, you need to be thinking about what is my path after high school? What are going to be the requirements for me to get there? What tests do I need to take? How do I pay for these tests? And so forth. This will be some of the material that we're going to cover with you today. There are many opportunities for post-secondary options. For example, you can go into an apprentice job, you can go into the military, you could be looking at specialty schools, 2-year colleges, or 4-year universities. A lot of times when people graduate high school, they'll go into a trade or they'll become an apprentice for some sort of a trade. So what they're looking for is basic skill sets, and they're going to give you a lot of on-the-job training. So you'll be paid during that training, but you're not often paid as much as you will be once you have acquired the skills necessary to become certified in that specific job. Some examples of trade jobs are like electrician, going into construction management, becoming a plumber, becoming a firefighter. Any of these that you see on the list are some of your basic ones that we see oftentimes most of our students tend to go toward. So this is a link to a video that you can watch that discusses the skills gap. It's very interesting that we tend to hyper-focus on 4-year colleges and oftentimes ignore the technical occupations, when many times you get a diploma or certificate in a technical occupation, the job is generally pays very well, and secondly, it allows you to graduate school or leave some sort of program with minimal debt. PowerPoint will be online at our sprayberrycounseling.com website. I think it's very interesting how we can send kids to these trade schools. They learn a trade that they can take with them throughout their lives. And if they opt to go to a 4-year college, one, they have money to help them pay for that 4-year college because they actually have a real skill that they can utilize. And then they can go to the 4-year college and get another degree if they desire. And if not, then they have the opportunity to make some really good money with that trade skill. 2014, Governor Deal developed the High Demand Career Initiative. And basically, this is an initiative where they're allowing employers to speak directly to students to talk about what they need and what they're looking for moving forward with the workforce. So please feel free at some point to go to the link listed below and take a look at this career initiative and how it's moving forward and what it's doing to help businesses and to help students moving into those types of careers. So if you're interested in a technical school, what they're going to require is a high school diploma. You can take the SAT or ACT, but a lot of the technical schools only require the AccuPlacer, which is a test of basic skills. So this actual test will tell you if you're going to be starting in college level classes or if they need to do some remediation. Let's say you don't do well in math, they may have you do a remedial math class before you take the actual college math class. The HOPE grant can be used for any certificate program and diploma program, and just remember that there's no GPA requirement for this. So let's say you want to go to a 4-year college, but your GPA is not really great. You can go to, let's say, Chattahoochee Tech, take classes for a couple of years, and then improve your GPA and move over to a 4-year college. So even if you have a really low GPA at this time, it's not necessarily going to negatively impact you to be able to get into one of the technical colleges. So when we're looking at 2-year colleges, you have Chattahoochee Tech, which does offer classes that allow you to move forward to get the 4-year degree, or you can get your associate's degree. And there are other 2-year colleges like Georgia Highlands, for example, that offers 2-year programs. So you're going to need a high school diploma. They're going to be looking for a minimum GPA average of a 2.0. You will have to complete the 4 math credits all the way through advanced algebra, which is Algebra 2. And then you'll find that a lot of the 2-year colleges will accept students without the 2 years of a world language from high school. But in order to transfer to the 4-year college, you're going to need to take those 2 years of world language. It's not a requirement for graduation, but it is a requirement to get into 4-year colleges down the road. Also, the SAT or ACT may or may not be required. You will need to check specifically with your college of interest to find out what they take. If you're interested in going the 4-year college route right away, they are going to be looking for 4 credits in math. You are going to have advanced algebra, but they also tend to want to see like a pre-calculus or advanced math decision making. Because at Sprayberry, you only need foundations of algebra, geometry, and Algebra 2. 4-year colleges are going to look for 1 more math credit after that Algebra 2. They are also going to require 2 years of the same world language. So if you take Spanish 1, you need to take Spanish 2. You can't mix Spanish 1 with Chinese 1. They won't accept that. Also, GPA requirements are based individually by that specific school, so you'll need to look on the school's website and see what those requirements are. Also, SAT and ACT minimums, it's going to vary depending on the college. And it's also important when you're looking at going to some of these out-of-state schools that they may have different requirements than what we have in Georgia. So for example, some schools in California, South Carolina, Louisiana, we know Ole Miss, and some of the Tennessee schools are going to require 1 unit of a fine arts. So if you do 3 years of a world language, you don't necessarily have to do a fine arts class. But if you're looking at attending one of those colleges, you will need that credit in order to be accepted. If you're interested in attending a selective four-year college like UGA or Georgia Tech, they're going to have more intensive requirements. They're looking for a GPA of a 3.8 or higher. They are looking for incredibly strong ACT or SAT scores. They want you to take anywhere between 5 and 7 AP classes. And if you're not taking an AP class, they want to see the majority of the other classes being honor classes. You also have to have the 2 years of the same world language, and you have to finish math through pre-calculus. Not only do they want to see that you've done incredibly well with your academics, they want to know what you've done for the community, how you've been involved in your high school, what leadership positions you've had. They're going to require an essay, and they are going to look for letters of recommendations from your counselors and your teachers. Determining what your GPA is going to look like at that specific college, you need to reach out to the college to find out exactly what that's going to look like. So a lot of times colleges only look at your core classes. They won't consider any of your elective classes. So they're going to look at English, math, science, social studies, and your world language classes. Some colleges will give you quality points for your honors, AP, or dual enrollment classes. Some colleges will not. So for example, UGA and Georgia Tech, they weigh AP classes at a 0.5. And if you are going to like an Alabama college, they're going to look at your actual transcript. Some of the South Carolina colleges will weigh the AP and the honors classes. So it is very difficult to know what a specific college is going to require unless you actually go to that college's website and find out what their requirements look like. And it is going to be different for every college that you review. You may be asking, how do I even get to college? What do I need to do? So we're going to recommend the first thing you do is make a list of potential colleges. You also need to figure out what you want to do in terms of a major, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Attend some of the college fairs or the sessions. I know a lot of them are online right now, and that's perfectly fine. You want to get a feel for what's going on in that specific college, what the expectations are, what the social life is like, how big the classes are. All these things are going to help you determine what type of college that you're looking for. You also want to look at the freshman profile, sometimes called the freshman index. That's going to help you figure out what the average freshman looked like last year of kids that were actually accepted into that specific college. And if possible, you want to go and actually visit the colleges. I know that's going to be a little hard right now, but maybe it'll be different by the time that you're a senior. The application process and what you need to know, starting your senior year, you're going to start applying to the colleges that you're interested in. You're going to add those colleges into your Naviance account. We, as counselors, will only be going into Naviance, and that's where we're going to know what you're trying to do. So if you have picked specific colleges and you're asking us to send the school profile and a copy of your transcript, all of that will happen through Naviance. I encourage you to go to sprayberrycounseling.com, click on Naviance. There are tons of videos in there to help you walk through the process of requesting like a letter of recommendation or how to match your Common App, all the things that you're going to need to do in order for us to send your information on your behalf to a specific college. You are also going to review each college's application process because every college is going to be a little different. They're going to all have online applications. Most of them are going to require a transcript. Most of them are going to require test scores. So if you take the SAT or ACT, you're going to send those directly to the college when you actually sign up and you sit down to take that test. That's when you're going to do the request saying, hey, please send this to Georgia State or please send this to UGA. And then you're going to ask for letters of recommendation only if they're required. If you ask a teacher to fill out a letter of recommendation and they're not required, when we upload them into Naviance, the school just will not accept them. So that's just something to be aware of. It is going to be incredibly important for you to know your deadlines. College deadlines are non-negotiable. If you do not submit all your material in advance of the deadline, they will not make any exceptions to allow you to submit your paperwork late. So please, please, please remember, you need to know the deadlines for the specific colleges, and please do not miss those deadline dates. If you intend on going to a four-year college, you will need to take the SAT or ACT. Now, the only caveat to that is this year you do not need to take it if you're a current senior because of COVID-19. We don't know what next year is going to look like, but just assume that if we're back to face-to-face and everything is fine, that seniors next year, which will be you guys, y'all will have to take the SAT or ACT. Here's the website to both organizations. If you need extra help, I suggest going into Khan Academy. They offer where you can upload your test scores, and it will analyze how well that you did on the test, and it will set up questions in areas of weakness to help you learn the material that you need in order to go back and retake the test and earn a better score. And remember that colleges accept either test, they don't care. So we encourage you to take both tests. Most students do better on one or the other. We don't know which one until the student takes it. So consider taking both tests and see which one you do better on. And then that will be the scores that you want to send into the specific college. If you intend to go to Chattahoochee Tech or another technical school, you will be required to take the AccuPlacer. Oftentimes you can take that at that specific college. They offer test dates throughout the week, so just reach out to that specific college, find out when they have the test, and then go in and take it. Plan to be there for about 2 to 3 hours. If you're looking at going into the military, they'll probably have you take the ASVAB. And if you're looking at a highly competitive college, not only will they require the SAT or ACT, but they may require you to take subject tests to see how well you do in very specific subjects. But like I said, that's going to be more for some highly competitive colleges. Other important things you need to be aware of is that it's your responsibility as a student to check out the college's admissions website. Your high school counselor cannot be responsible for the deadlines and the application process for the specific college. That's going to fall on you. So please be sure that you're aware of what the requirements are and what the deadlines are. Also with COVID-19, we're not really sure what they're doing at the SAT or ACT, like I mentioned before. Right now, for this year, it is optional. It may not be that way next year. So be sure you stay abreast of information coming from SAT or ACT. Now, if you are trying to become eligible for the Zell Miller, it is our understanding that they still are going to require you to take the SAT or ACT. So that's going to be up to Georgia Student Finance Commission, but we don't know as of right now if they're going to waive those. My understanding right this minute, as of today, which is 9/24/2020, they are not going to be waiving those requirements. In your year, a lot of times students are really overwhelmed about how to fill out a college application or how to look for scholarships. So the counseling department offers small group opportunities for seniors. You just need to reach out to your counselor at the beginning of your senior year and let us know that you're interested in participating in one of our college application and scholarship small groups. We will meet with you face-to-face if we're in the building, and we will do virtual meetings if we're online, but we will basically walk you through how to use Naviance, how to complete your college applications online, how to request letters of recommendations, and how to apply for scholarships. It is a great opportunity if you are not familiar with the college application process to allow us to walk you through this process. So definitely consider signing up for one of those small groups at the beginning of your senior year. Many of you have heard of the Hope Scholarship. To be able to receive the Hope Scholarship, you have to have a 3.0 core GPA. So that means you have to have the 3.0 in math, science, language arts, social studies, and world language. They are not going to look at your other classes. On your high school transcript, we put all your classes, and your GPA is based on all your classes. For Hope, your GPA is only based on your core classes. You must also have 4 credits of academic rigor. The way that Sprayberry does it is we already have that built into your schedule, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. So if you're going to go to a 2-year or 4-year college, so if you're going a 2-year college and looking for an associate's degree or a 4-year college for a bachelor's degree, you could qualify for the Hope Scholarship. You obviously have to have graduated from a Georgia high school. You must live in Georgia for at least a year, and you have to complete the FAFSA by October 1st of your senior year. When you become a senior, we will also have Apply to College Day, which is generally November 1st, and that is the time we will be walking you through how to complete your FAFSA at the same time. So that is just another opportunity for us to walk you through a step that oftentimes a lot of kids find to be a little overwhelming. Now, the HOPE grant is for students that are looking to go to a technical school to get a certificate or a diploma. So there's no initial GPA requirement. You obviously must have your high school diploma. They will accept you if you have a GED. You need to be a Georgia resident for 1 year. They will cover a percentage of your tuition, and you must complete the FAFSA. You pretty much have to complete the FAFSA for any HOPE grant or scholarship that you're looking for. The Zell Miller Scholarship is for students looking at 4-year colleges. They have to have a 3.7 core GPA. So once again, your math, science, English, social studies, and world language classes. You have to have a 1200 on the SAT math and reading sections, or a 26 overall score on the ACT. You have to have the 4 classes of rigor. Like once again, I mentioned that we have those built into Sprayberry's schedule. This will help you pay for 2-year colleges or 4-year colleges, and that's looking for a specific degree program. And you have to, once again, complete the FAFSA by October 1st, or excuse me, after October 1st of your senior year. The Zell Miller grant is one of those grants that a lot of students are not aware of, but if you have a 3.5 GPA and you opt to go to a tech school, you can get your tuition covered at 100%. And let's say that you go to the tech school and your GPA is not at the 3.5. After your first semester, if you have earned a 3.5, the Zell Miller grant will step in and reimburse you for your classes that you took for the first semester. You need to be a high school graduate. You need that 3.5 GPA. You need to be a Georgia resident. You have to maintain the 3.5 GPA while you're in college. And then, of course, you apply for the Zell Miller after October 1st of your senior year. And when I say apply, you're not really applying. You're just completing the FAFSA. And when you complete the FAFSA, it automatically makes you eligible for these grants. And your school counselors will walk you through that process once we get there. I mentioned earlier that there were rigor requirements. So HOPE requires 4 specific rigor requirements. And they also require that you have taken specific classes, specific core classes. So your English class, your math classes, your science, social studies, and your world languages. These are the only classes that count towards your HOPE GPA. When looking at the rigor requirements that HOPE has, there are 4 classes of rigor that you must take, and it can be a combination of any of these classes. You can take Algebra 2, which we have built into your schedule, Advanced Math Decision Making, which many of our seniors take, Pre-Calculus or any other AP Math class, any Advanced Science class, which would be like your Physics class, which is built into your schedule if you choose to take it, or Chemistry, any AP class, so if you take AP Psychology, that will count. If you take your second level of your world language, so you take Spanish 1, that does not count, but Spanish 2 does count as that class of rigor. And then, of course, any dual enrollment class that you take will count as your class of rigor. If you want to see a full list of classes that count as classes of rigor, just click on the link below, and it'll take you to Georgia Student Finance Commission's site on the classes of rigor. At which classes are weighted for the HOPE scholarship or grant, you need to know that they do not give you extra quality points for any honor classes, and they only give you a 0.5 extra quality point up to a 4.0 for any AP class or any dual enrollment class. So for example, if you have a 4.0, you cannot get a 4.5. But if you have a 3.5 and you took a class of rigor, then that would count as you would get the 0.5 extra quality points, which would pop it up to the 4.0. Now this is very important. You need to know that your HOPE GPA is not listed on your high school transcript. Please be aware, the GPA listed on your regular transcript is your GPA for all of your classes. Your HOPE GPA is not listed on your high school transcript. So you may be wondering, well, if it's not on my high school transcript, where can I find it? you will need to go to www.gafutures.org. If you haven't set up an account, you can set up an account at that time. If you forgot your account information, you can request for them to reset it for you. But your Hope GPA is only going to be listed on your Georgia Futures account. So please go to www.gafutures.org to look up your student's Hope GPA. There are many ways to pay for college. Some parents have saved, they have an account called a 529 college savings plan, and that is money that can be used for your student to go to college. There are also grants and scholarships that you can apply to. If you want to get a start, just a head start looking at that, go to bigfutures.org. That's bigfutures.org. You can click on the scholarship link and then getting started. You just type in your regular demographic information and it'll tell you scholarships that your student is already eligible to apply for just based on who your student is. If you are looking for other scholarships as we move into your senior year, remember to sign up for our small group for the college application and scholarship searches. Also, some students take out loans. I'm sure a lot of y'all have been listening to the news and you hear how the loans for colleges are out of control now. So that might be something you really think about before you move into a four-year college, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Also, there are opportunities for work-study programs. When you go to a specific college, you can say, I'm interested in one of your work-study programs, and they will give you a job on campus that they will work around your college schedule, and they will either give you like a stipend of money that you get to take home with you, or they will use the hours that you worked toward your tuition fees. So each college does a little differently, but that is an option. There are also financial opportunities for students that are undocumented. You just need to reach out to your counselor and they can help you find that information. And then also reach out to the colleges directly because a lot of individual colleges have scholarships and grants that are specific to students that go to their specific university. As I mentioned before, there are a lot of resources and places you can look to help you figure out scholarships and getting free money. So participating in the small group that the counseling department will offer would be a great place to start next year. Also going to the college's websites and see what they offer. Going into bigfutures.org, going into georgiafutures.org. They have sites and tabs in there where you can go in and you can look at the scholarships that are available. Talking to your current employer. If your student has a job, they can reach out to their employer. I know Chick-fil-A offers lots of scholarships, so if you work for Chick-fil-A, you might want to talk to them about their scholarship opportunities and what that looks like. Also, communities and various other organizations that you might be involved in, oftentimes they will have scholarship opportunities. I highly recommend starting a resume. So like write out your personal statement. Who are you? What are your goals? Where do you want to be in 5 years or 10 years? Because a lot of times these scholarships are going to ask you the same type of questions, and if you already have something written down, it'll make it easier for you to plug that information into their website. Start searching everywhere. Start applying as soon as you possibly can. I will tell you that the majority of students can start applying for scholarships right at the beginning of their senior year. There aren't a whole lot for juniors moving forward into their senior year. And of course, once you complete the FAFSA, you'll be eligible for some other scholarships. I am all about saving money going to college. There's absolutely no reason that our kids should be getting out of college with $25,000, $35,000 in debt. It just does not make any sense. So I want to kind of give you a comparison between Chat Tech and any four-year college. I'm just using KSU because it's right down the street, but this is going to be any four-year college. Prices are going to be pretty similar. So if you take a look at Chattahoochee Tech, 1 credit hour is $100 for in-state. And if you live in the state of Georgia, it would be considered in-state. So one class is generally 3 credits. So for example, if you take Math 1111, which is college algebra, that's a 3-credit class. So that class would cost $300. Well, if you take a total of 5 classes, which would be a normal course load for any college freshman, you're going to be paying approximately $1,500 for that semester. And then you need to add in their fees. So I went into Chat Tech's website and I added up their fees, and their fees each semester are $360. So you're looking at a little bit over $1,800 per semester. So $1,800 for Chat Tech approximately. Now, if you take a look at KSU, they charge $181 for 1 credit. So if you are going to be taking 5 classes just like you would at Chat Tech, you're going to pay approximately $2,700 for those 5 classes. So the $2,715, then you minus the $4,450 because that's going to be their fees. You're paying in fees $3,160. So you're looking at $1,800 a semester at Chat Tech compared to $4,450 at KSU. And that's $4,450 not including room and board. So if you opt to have your student live on campus, you're going to be looking at approximately an additional $20,000 for room and board. So it's not even comparing apples to apples when it comes to the cost of education. So why would you not start your kid at Chat Tech, let them take all the basic classes that will switch over to a 4-year college, and then move into the 4-year college and only have to pay that large fee for the last 2 years approximately, instead of paying that fee for 4 years. So what most people don't realize is that the University System of Georgia has a transfer agreement between the major colleges, the 4-year colleges, and the technical colleges. So your student can take classes at the technical college that will be accepted by any 4-year college. This means that if you want your student to go to KSU, but you prefer to save money and get some of the basic classes out of the way, you can do so. You can send your student to Chat Tech. They can take any of the classes that they know will automatically transfer over to the 4-year college. And you can do that for a year or up to 2 years, just depending on how many classes your student opts to take. So there is, on this slide, the link to the classes that we know will transfer based on the agreement between the Georgia University System and the technical colleges. Just clicked into the link so that you could see. So the link will take you to Chattahoochee Tech, because I'm looking specifically at their transfer agreement. And if I scroll through here, you will see what the agreement is, and then you will see the classes that will transfer. So you can take this art class, Art 1101, it's called Art Appreciation. And at the university systems, it'll be one of these numbers that will be the equivalent. You could look at taking biology in the biology lab. Here's the numbers. So biology 1111, biology 1111 lab. So all of these classes, I'm just going to scroll through them so you could just take a look at them. They have an agreement with the 4-year college system that any of these classes will transfer to the major 4-year college. You know, you can take classes at Chattahoochee Tech that are guaranteed to transfer over to any 4-year college. You need to look at the 4-year college of interest. So let's say you want to go to Chat Tech for a year or so, take some of the basic classes, and then move over to KSU. You need to go into KSU's website and you need to look at what they require in terms of going to college. All colleges are going to require their students to take basic classes. So before you get into your major, which is generally your junior year and senior year in college, you're going to be required to take basic classes. So for example, everybody's going to take English 1101 and English 1102. Instead of taking those classes at KSU, you can take those classes at Chat Tech for a fraction of the cost. Other examples are your Math 1111, 1101, History, Political Science. I'm going to click into the link for KSU to show you what their basic class requirements are. Into the link on the PowerPoint, so you'll be able to go back at a later time and take a look at this on your own. But these are the requirements for Kennesaw State University. So as I said, everybody takes general education classes, regardless of who you are. So here are their core classes. They require all their freshmen to take English 1101 and English 1102. So this is Area 1, Written Communication. Everyone takes 6 credit hours. So remember I said most of the classes are approximately 3 credits. So they're going to take English 1101 and English 1102. They're also going to be required to take 3 to 4 credits in a math class. Math 1111 is offered at Chat Tech. So you could take this class also at Chat Tech and it will transfer over to KSU as one of the required core classes. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit so you can see. Sociology, psychology, some of these classes may transfer over. You will need to go into KSU's website that we're at right now and compare it to Chat Tech's website and see what classes actually transfer. So it's just about aligning the 2 classes so that you know which ones transfer. Your lit classes, I know that the 2111 and the The 2110 are two classes that I know transfer over. American Lit 2130 is also a class. If you keep scrolling through here, we already saw that Art 1107 is a class that will transfer over. These are all KSU required classes. If you take them at Chat Tech, you're going to save a whole lot of money. Now, I think it's important to note that I'm not telling you you have to do this. I'm just merely saying that if you opt to go to Chat Tech, you can save a lot of money, because I know college can be an overwhelming experience and then it being a huge financial burden for a lot of people. So it's just something to keep in mind if this is something that you're interested in. The next step is looking at the transfer articulation form. Every college will have a transfer articulation form, because some people go, like they may go to Mississippi State for a year or two and then transfer back into, let's say, KSU. So to be able to do that and know what classes will transfer, they have this articulation form. So you can go to this website that I have listed here. You're going to click in, when you get in there, you'll click in the name of the state, the school that you were attending, that's going to be undergraduate, because if you're looking for your bachelor's degree, that's considered undergraduate. And then you're going to look up your class. So for example, if you type in SOCI for sociology, you're going to click undergraduate for fall of 2020. Then it's going to populate and it's going to say Sociology 1101, and you will see that Chat Tech, you'll see their specific number, and then you'll see KSU's specific number, so you'll know if it'll be a direct alignment between the two classes. So I went into KSU's website and I did exactly what I just talked about in the last slide. I typed in sociology. I stated we were undergraduate. It was going to be for the fall 2020 term. So if I took sociology 1101 at Chat Tech, so you can see it right here, Chat Tech, took the sociology class. Obviously, I have to make a minimum of a D, but if I do, KSU will take it, the sociology, it'll count as a 3-credit class, and the number is exactly the same. You would need to do this for every single one of your classes, but it'll help you figure out which classes will transfer and which classes will not. Okay, now I'll get off my soapbox about money, and we'll talk about some other important information that you need to know. If your child receives free or reduced lunch, they are going to be eligible for waivers for the SAT and ACT. They'll receive 2 for SAT and 2 for ACT. In order to get the waivers, you're going to need to confirm with the lunch manager that you are indeed receiving free and reduced, because the counseling department would not necessarily have this information. So your student will need to come to counseling, get a copy of the shared information form, or if we're still virtual, you can email Nuri Gonzalez and ask for a copy of that form. You would turn that into the cafeteria manager. The cafeteria manager will email Ms. Gonzalez and let them know, yes, the student is on free and reduced lunch, or no, the student is not. If they are on free and reduced lunch, you will be eligible for these waivers. Once you take the SAT, you can also receive up to 4 waivers for college application fees, because oftentimes colleges charge anywhere from $25 to maybe $55 for an application fee. So it's another way of helping you save some money. Many colleges are going to require you to submit a letter of recommendation from either a teacher or a counselor. Please be sure you give everybody at least 2 weeks advance notice if you're going to request a letter of recommendation from them. It is very difficult for a teacher or a counselor to do a last-minute recommendation, because we have over 400 kids in their senior class each year, and we have to take them in the order in which received. And also remember that we're doing other things besides just writing letters of recommendation. So 2 weeks is a great amount of time to give somebody to be able to write you a really good letter of rec. If you don't know what to write about, go to sprayberrycounseling.com, click on senior, and then senior biography. You're going to see a brag sheet here. And this is basically where you are going to just tell us all the amazing things that you've ever done, your GPA, the activities that you're involved in, any community service. The more you brag, the easier it will be for us to write a letter of recommendation. And I know that probably sounds counterintuitive to what you've been taught your entire life, but we need you to really give us some great information about you so we can make you look like a rock star. And I know that you are rock stars, but if we don't know this information, we don't have inside information to every student, so the brag sheet will really help us. Also, guys, once you finish your letters of recommendation and you've received them back from the teachers, or they've acknowledged that they've sent them through Naviance, then be sure you write a thank you email to your teacher, letting them know that you appreciate them taking time to write this letter of recommendation for you. If you are an athlete and you plan on playing sports in college, you need to be sure you register with NCAA Eligibility Center. You need to do this at the end of your junior year. We have the link right here to help you get there. Remember that the registration fee is $90, and they're going to ask for an initial copy of your transcript, and then they're going to ask for a final copy of your transcript. And you're going to do the request through My Payments Plus, which is listed on our website. So once again, sprayberrycounseling.com. We spoke earlier about needing to figure out your major or your area of interest for when you go to college. One way to help you do that is to take the U-Science inventory. So if you go to uscience.com, it is an interest and aptitude inventory. I highly encourage you to take this. The test takes about 2 hours, but it's broken up into like a 5-minute test, an 8-minute test, a 12-minute test. And if you get bored after you finish the section, just save it and come back to it later. By far, this is one of the best assessments I've ever seen to help you figure out what you may want to major in when you go to college. Whether you're going to a tech school, whether you're going out into the workforce, it is amazing the amount of information that you're going to gather from taking this test and taking it seriously. If you go to Sprayberry's website, you click on Core Lessons, and you're going to see U-Science 101 PowerPoint. I actually took this test because before I make students take things, I try to do it myself to make sure it's not a colossal waste of your time. By far the best test I've ever taken. If I had had this test back when I was 20, I wouldn't have started as an anthropologist and then had to move over into school counseling. So if you can save a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of effort going down the wrong path, I highly recommend taking the U-Science inventory. Just reach out to your counselor and she will give you your GTID number that will give you access to U-Science for free. By now, you should have all heard of dual enrollment. Dual enrollment is when you go to the college and you take classes, and the classes that you take at the college, you get college credit for it at the same time that you get high school credit for it. You are allowed as juniors to take dual enrollment classes. And of course, going into your senior year, you will be capped at 30 hours, so that's approximately 10 classes. Dual enrollment students are allowed to take classes in English, math, science, social studies, and their world language, and there are also some career tech classes that you can take if you're interested. If you opt to take dual enrollment classes, I highly suggest you go to sprayberrycounseling.com, click on More, and then Dual Enrollment. I have all the requirements listed there. There is a cheat sheet to help keep you organized. There's a video that you have to watch and sign off on saying that you understand all the rules for dual enrollment. I have all the paperwork that you would possibly need listed on that website. You'll need to take the SAT or ACT if they require it. I know this year they are not requiring it because of COVID-19. You need to talk to your family about it because your parent has to give you permission to be able to participate in dual enrollment. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit and you're going to get the information on how you do a transcript review. So first of all, we have put your transcripts in your Naviance account. So once you get into Naviance, you're going to click on About Me. You're going to click on Documents Shared with Me. You're going to click on 11th grade advisement, and then you're going to see your transcript will populate. This is a transcript up to today. So obviously it's not going to have grades for this semester because you have not completed this semester. It'll just have an IP on it, which means that the class is currently in progress. I know this picture is a little blurry, but this is just like a sample transcript on what it will look like. Up in the left-hand corner, right in this area, you're going to see your demographic information, which should have your name, your mailing address, and so forth. In the middle section, we'll have the grade level and date of birth, all that type of information. On the right-hand side, you're going to see your weighted GPA and your unweighted GPA. If you have never taken honors or AP classes, your weighted and unweighted GPA should be the same. If you have taken an honors class or an AP class, this is where you're going to see the weighted extra quality point come in, a 0.5 for an honors class and a 1.0 for an AP class. Take a look at your transcript, make sure everything looks correct to you. So you'll have your language arts grades, what your score was, what your final score was. You'll see your math grades, science, social studies, and so forth. Remember that your HOPE GPA is not listed on this transcript. You will only find your HOPE GPA at www.georgiafutures.org. As you're reviewing your transcript, remember you need 23 credits to graduate. 4 English, 4 math, 4 science, 3 social studies, health and fitness, or JROTC if you're in that program, 3 CTAE classes, and everything else becomes an elective. Most students will have 32 credits by the time they graduate from Sprayberry if you attended Sprayberry from your freshman. So going to find a copy of your status check. Your status check is blank, and we want you to take a look at your transcript and take a look at the status check to make sure that you are on track to graduate. To find this, you're going to do the same thing that you just did to find your transcript. You're going to go into Naviance, you're going to click About Me, My Stuff, Documents Shared with Me, and click on your status report. When you click on the status report, it's going to be blank. You can go ahead and print it. Now, I'm going to take you to the next slide because I want you to see that you either have classes that are completed, classes that are in progress, or classes that you need. Remember, if you plan on attending a 2-year or 4-year university, they're going to look for 2 credits of a world language. So you'll need like Spanish 1 and Spanish 2, French 1 and French 2. This is what your status report should look like. So if you look up here, it has English. So you want to look at 9th grade lit. Have you completed 9th grade lit? We actually, on your transcript or on your status report, we have 2 0.5. So if you came from a traditional schedule, if you took the A part, it would be 1 0.5. If you took the B part, it would be another 0.5. If you were at Sprayberry for all 4 years or for the last 3 years, you're going to have completed the 1.0. If you're currently in the class, you would mark that you're currently in that class. And if you still need the class, you would mark that you need it. Most of you should have finished 9th lit, your 10th lit class, and that you're either in American Lit or an AP Lang class. Looking at your math credits, your freshman year, most of you will take algebra, sophomore will be geometry, junior year will be algebra 2, and your senior year will be pre-calculus. Now, some of you have taken foundations, so your foundations does count as one of your math classes. But remember, if you're looking at a 4-year college, they're going to want to see either pre-calculus or advanced math decision-making. If you have completed it, you're going to mark the 1.0 completed. If it's currently in your schedule, like some of you may be taking Algebra 2 right now, so you'll mark it as scheduled. And then next year, if you're planning on going to a 4-year college, you'll want to mark that you need another math class, which will either be pre-calculus or advanced math decision-making. Moving on to your science classes, it's going to be the same thing. Most of you have taken biology. Most of you should have completed chemistry. You're either in physics, so you'll circle scheduled, or that you need physics for second semester. And then your 4 science class, most of you will be taking that next year when you become a senior. World history and U.S. history are the same, so you'll take world history in 10th grade, U.S. history in 11th. So you're either currently in it or you'll need it for next semester. And then econ and government, if you take regular econ and government or honors econ and government, is actually each class is 0.5. So you'll have a 0.5 econ class that you need to mark for next year and a 0.5 government class that you need to mark. If you completed health and fitness, you'll circle that it's completed. Circle that you've completed your CTAE, world language or fine art classes. If you take band, you've already got more than enough credits because each semester is 1 credit. And then everything else after that becomes an elective. And then you can mark off if you've completed your 2 years of a world language. Now, this is just for you. Your school counselor already has a copy of this information, and we have been keeping track of your progress through high school for all 4 years, because our job is to make sure that you have all the classes that you need to graduate. Your job is to make sure that you pass all the classes. We are going to briefly talk about Naviance and what the Naviance program is and how you're going to be able to utilize it. Naviance is our delivery system for college and career search engines, but it's also how we're going to communicate with you and your parents throughout the year. So you're going to use Naviance to search for colleges, to request transcripts, to get your letter of recommendation. There are a number of steps that you'll have to go through, so we really encourage you to go to SprayberryCounseling.com, click on Naviance, and review the various PowerPoints on how to utilize this system. If you are on a Cobb County computer, you'll automatically be logged into Naviance. If you are on your home computer, you can go to www.cobbk12.org. You will find a little link across the top that says Find It Fast. If you click on that link and you scroll down, you will see Naviance listed on the right-hand side, 3rd from the bottom. To be able to access your Naviance account, you're going to use your Microsoft 365 username and password. When you get into your Naviance account, it's going to take you to the student homepage. and it's going to say welcome, and instead of saying student, it's actually going to have your name. And over here is where we said about me. It's how you get access to your transcript and to your status report. So if you haven't already gone into Naviance, that'll be something that you want to do in the next day or two to make sure you know how to navigate the system and to complete the activities that we're going to require you to complete. Once you first get into Naviance, we want you to update your email address. Cobb County has given you an arbitrary email address with your name that you don't even realize you have. We want you to click on the About Me link, My Account. You're going to see an icon pencil. You're going to click on that, and it's going to have your Cobb County email address. If you don't use that address, please change it to one that you use, because we will be sending you information throughout the year through Naviance. Once you've completed that task, please click Save. You can use Naviance to help you with college and career planning. It'll help you build your resume. It's how you can communicate with your counselors if you want, and it'll also help you with scholarship searches. Now, all 11th grade students are going to be required to do a bridge law activity. I have it written in here, but we're also going to be sending you directions shortly to remind you exactly how you need to complete your bridge law activity. This is required by the state, so if you don't do it, we will continue to hunt you down to make sure you get this activity done. So what you're going to do is the first thing is you're going to go into My Planner, and then you're going to click on Tasks. Once you click on My Planner and Task, you're going to select 11th grade Bridge Law Survey. This is a survey that you're required to take. Look for the pink diamond with the white arrow and click Start. After you start this, there's a series of questions. Once you finish the questions, you're just going to click Save and Finish. Now, after you finish, don't log out. We need to make sure that you've completed this task. So I want you to go back to My Planner and click on Task, and it'll show your completion status. If it doesn't say you're all set, you have nothing assigned to you, then you have not completed this task. You'll need to go back in and make sure you answer all the questions and save it. There is a supplemental activity called the Super Match College Search. You are not required to do this activity, but if you would like to, it will help you determine colleges that might be of interest. If you need help with this, go to sprayberrycounseling.com, click on the Core Virtual Lessons, then scroll down until you see 11th graders and undecided 12th grade core lessons searching for colleges through Naviance. Remember that this activity is optional, but it can really help you narrow in what college that you might be most interested in attending. As I stated, this information will be sent out to you in an email, but all you need to do is scroll down to tasks you need to work on, complete task 1 by selecting complete the Supermatch College Search, and then select the the search for colleges in the upper right-hand corner to begin this activity. Once you get started, you're going to click on Select Criteria to Start. After you've explored the colleges, you can save 3 of them by clicking the favorite, which is the little heart button that you're going to see right here, and it'll save it to your favorites. Opted to do this activity, the colleges that you picked will now be listed under Colleges I'm Thinking About. Later down the road, you can switch them to colleges you're thinking about attending. And if you're not interested, you can click it and delete it at a later date. Okay, so today I covered a lot of material. So if you have questions that are good for the group, we would like you to go ahead and write them in the chat box, and we will be more than happy to answer them for you. If you would prefer to meet with us individually for a Zoom meeting, just reach out to your counselor. I have their emails listed below, and just let us know that you would like to schedule a meeting during the month of October to review where your child is and what's going on with your child specifically. Like I said, if you have questions that are good for the group, feel free to write them in the chat and we'll be more than happy to answer them. Thanks so much for participating in 11th grade advisement.